guys, welcome to the DahlBox. I want to give you a little home gym tour of our garage gym here in New Jersey. We moved in here about 2.5 years ago, so we work out whenever we want for however long we want. Spent a lot of blood, sweat, and tears putting this thing together, and we wanted to take some time to walk you guys through it, show you what we got, how we got it, how much we spent, things we tweaked, how we set it up to maximize the space and what we can do in this little technically 2-car garage of ours. So I'm just going to go in a circle around the edges, and I think that's probably the best way to show you guys off. Just tell you how we came across this stuff, how we got it kind of set up in here, and yeah, maybe the whole goal is basically you can draw a little bit of inspiration as you're trying to set up your own home gym, whether it's in your basement or a spare room or a detached garage like this or a connected garage or whatever it may be. So let's get started. Let's start here on the edge. So we got like a bunch of bags and slam balls and D-balls. Some of these I bought, some of these I actually made. So this is just like the 150-pound Rogue. That's kind of like the standard for guys. So I use that quite a bit, bear hug carries over the shoulder. This one I actually made. So if you wanted to go on Amazon, buy a 16-inch kickball, those rubber kickballs you played with when you were a kid, buy one of those, cut a little hole in it, fill it with just beach sand, and then tape the whole thing up. This is a 105-pound bowl, and it cost $7 to make. So it's a little awkwardly shaped, it's a little hard, but I mean, you can't beat the price. This is a 60-pounder, this is from Titan Fitness. You'll see a lot of stuff in the gym is from Titan. They're kind of like the cheaper version of Rogue. You can typically get stuff from Titan for like 60% of what Rogue would cost you. This is just like a 20-pounder from Rogue. I got it on one of their Black Friday deals. This is a 106 Brute bag, so this is good for like throwing over your shoulder and walking with it on your back. This is just a bag, it's like 30 pounds filled with some stones from the beach, kind of like suitcase carry type stuff. So it's like a bunch of different bags. They're super versatile. They're easy to take with you on like a weekend trip. If you're doing like a long weekend getaway somewhere, just toss a couple in the trunk, bear hug carries, throw over your shoulder, goblet, squats, stuff like that. So Concept 2 rower. This was actually the very first thing we got when we had an apartment. We threw this in our spare bedroom, got it used, knew they're like $950. We got it for like $657, and it had like a few thousand meters on it, so it was a great deal. We'll probably have this for the next 40 years. Best piece of equipment we've got, probably. This is just like garage stuff, hose. You have to remember that it is a garage after all, so there's a few extension cords. Shop vac, which is primarily used to clean stuff up here. These are spotter arms for the rig, which I'll get to in a second. So you can use these for like basically like dead pulls, if you need a spotter while you're benching or squatting, if you want to do bottom up front squats, stuff like that. So they're super versatile. You can put those anywhere. You can even throw them up high and do kind of like jerk recoveries, super heavy jerk recoveries. Picked up, I think this is the most versatile sled out there. This is from Rogue. It's called like the Slice Sled or something. But it's got the 2 holes in the back where you can throw these posts on there, and you can push it, and then you can throw this strap on the front and you can pull it. So it's a push and a pull. Smaller than the classic dog sled, weighs about half as much, easier to move around. So that's pretty great. And you'll see also we throw a lot of stuff on the edges around here, just trying to maximize the floor space. So that's kind of a big thing. This I just picked up this year. I'll show you this because it's like one of my favorite things in the gym right now. You can get super creative and do all sorts of different stuff with this, but this one is actually primarily for like single leg work. So if you want to do like Bulgarian split squats or rear foot elevated squats, you can throw it on here, throw something in a goblet squat or a front rack, and just do really easy single leg squat stuff. It's awesome for that. If you want to get super creative, you could throw it low and do like kind of Nordic curls. I've even screwed around with a bench and thrown it up high and turned it into like a real kind of crankety GHD sit-up. So you can get creative with this. I'm still kind of playing with it. You don't see these around much, but this for like $50 from Rogue is actually my favorite piece of equipment right now. All right, just screwed in like a couple holders for like, phones and controls and stuff like that. So you can get creative with that stuff. Little like Google Assistant speaker. This is actually just a piece of wood, and you can buy whiteboard paint at Home Depot. So instead of spending like $50 to $100 on a giant whiteboard, you can get like $5 piece of plywood, $15 for paint this up. And it works pretty good. When it gets cold, it doesn't erase very well, but in warm weather, Yeah, well, it's not doing it right now, but in warm weather it goes a little bit better. It's the first warm day of the season, so kind of sits there. We have a little small one too if you just want to throw some small stuff around. Next, if you can find adjustable weights like these, like old school ones, these are some of the best things you can get. If you can get a couple handles and just these adjustable plates, they're all over on Craigslist, search around, then you can pretty much make any weights you want. Back here, you see we got like tons of adjustable 2.5, 5s, 10s, even have a couple 25s on here. This is the biggest one I could make. It's just a 140 pounder. So you can use this for like really heavy dumbbell rows or heavy goblet squats. But if you can find a few of these handles, a few of these plates, you can put together pretty much anything you want. It takes a few minutes to put it together, so it's not something you do every day. But like if you consistently want 70s or 90s or 30s, whatever, you can do that. All right, ski erg. I injured my ankle and got this because I couldn't bike or row for a while. And it turns out it was one of the best investments I think that we made. Love the ski erg. It's really underused. Great aerobic tool. We threw the wall balls up there just to save on some floor space. I was really happy with that. We've got 20, 30, 14, another 30 up there. So that's all good. Got a bunch of stuff here in the corner. Bands for attaching to the rig, shoulder warm-up, stuff like that. A couple of dip belts, weighted pull-up belt type things. Some like knees to elbow straps. These are pretty cool. Don't use these too often, but these are from Spudding. They're actually yoke straps. So you throw 2 of these on the end of a barbell, slip some weights over the bottom, and then you can walk with it like this. It's like a yoke. So kind of like poor man's garage yoke. So that's pretty cool. So you don't have to have the space and money for an extra yoke. They're kind of neat. You won't see these around much. I actually stole this idea from Brent Fikowski. He set up a garage gym, but these little like kneeling mats, these are like garden mats. These are really good for handstand push-ups, for anything where you're doing like a kneeling, maybe like banded pull down. Even if you're just doing like kind of a saddle stretch on the ground, you want to save your knees on like a hard floor. They're good for that. Add that, of course. Picked up a couple solid dumbbells along the way. Some 100s, some 50s, and some 25s. 50s are like the standard CrossFit, like snatch and overhead dumbbell. 100s are really nice for goblet squats, some heavy benches, stuff like that. 25s for Amy. It's nice to have a mirror. It's nice to have a weight vest. So we've got 2 sets of rings. First, the low set. So these are like for dips, archer rows, incline ring rows, stuff like that. So just leave them there. These are strictly there for muscle ups. So Rogue sells a nice little attachment at the very top. I don't know if you can see it with the light, but it's just attached to the A-frame at the top. And then these are actually pretty stiff. I've done probably well over a few thousand muscle-ups on there. Never once felt like it was getting unsteady or anything. And I guess I can show you guys once. I don't know if anyone's ever going to do this, but so you can go up in the hole and it's not a problem. I've done sets of like 10 and 15 without an issue. This is also a nice, like really versatile thing to have. I use it primarily that if I slip off, it hasn't happened yet, but when it does, if I slip off and smash my face, maybe I'll lose only 1 tooth instead of 4 on the bar. But it's also good for like barbell glute bridges, stuff like that. All right, what else? Soundbar is like a really good way to pump loud music through the gym. We have the soundbar hooked up through Bluetooth to the Samsung tablet, as well as hardwired into the TV in the corner. So with like Chromecast, we can play music. You can even come out here and watch movies, stuff like that. So that's all good. Picked up this bench for super cheap like 5 years ago. It's like silly how cheap it was, but it's great, incline, decline. It's got this nice little adjustable piece here. I mean, a flat bench works fine, but if you can find an incline one, especially for a garage gym, it becomes super versatile if you're doing like incline press, or I can even do like decline sit-ups, stuff like that. So the more versatile, the better, I think, with the bench, but a flat bench works.
Symmetry?
Oh yeah, so let's talk about the rig. This is the Monster Light rig. I thought a long time about just getting a standalone rack and a separate pull-up bar, doing a big yoke that's tall enough for the pull-up bar on top, doing a rig. Ended up going with the rig, was pretty happy with that. Got a couple sets of J hooks, so like these hooks always stay here for squats front and back. These hooks can go up and down for benching, incline, decline, stuff like that. And then I've got like a couple bars. So if like I have a friend over, a couple people over, we can all be doing toes to bar pull-ups. The thing moves back and forth, it's in studs in the wall, but I've never been concerned that it's gonna go anywhere. Same thing with those ring muscle ups, same with this bar. I can do bar muscle ups up into this hole up there. I'm gonna do it right now. And then actually each bar is a couple inches off. So it's just kind of nice to have a few bars in the gym depending on where you're set up. Like if I'm doing a Metcon with like front squats and toes to bar, well I have a bar here, now I can still do my toes to bar pull-ups or something here without getting in the way. So that's good. Crossover symmetry, actually won this in a competition. They're a little expensive. I probably wouldn't recommend getting one for a garage gym unless you have loads of money and you're looking to blow it out. But Amazon does have these. It's literally just crossover symmetry, but for like 1/5 the cost. Crossover symmetry is great. I'm glad I have it, but if you're on a budget, these work. These are like 20 bucks for like 10 bands on Amazon. So I recommend checking that out for a starter. But do crossover symmetry every day. It really helps with like mobilizing the scaps, and I've got a tight thoracic anyway, so it helps out with that. Oh, one other thing, so same thing with the muscle ups, are connected to the same thing with the muscle ups. I do have a rope connected. So I use this every now and then. I can't do actual like legs rope climbs, but I can do like legless L-sits. Creates a little bit of a mess, but got it right here, so we can just do like legless L-sits to the top. So that works well when I don't have time to get into a gym with an actual rope. That's the other thing too, is if you're working out a lot in the gym or in your garage gym, you find you're doing a lot of stuff when you get to gyms that you don't have in your garage, like legless rope or leg rope climbs, GHD, stuff like that. One other thing is, so we have the wall balls. Here's the wall ball target, again, up in the hole. So basically if you have a garage and you can cut out a hole, you can do your muscle ups, your rope climbs, your wall balls up into the hole. That's really convenient. So we just got lucky. Think ahead where you're gonna place the rig and everything. There was like a lot of thought that went into that, so we pulled it off. Just threw up a couple pieces of ply here for handstand push-ups. It's good just to have a wall to do like couch stretch on, things like that. Obligatory American flag. We do have a fan that we bring down in the summer, just circulate a little bit of air. Okay, we got a bunch of kettlebells. So started with a 35, added a 70, got a 53, then got one of each more, and then got a 20. So just, you can like slowly add on kettlebells, but like the sandbags, kettlebells are really great, especially if you're gonna go away on a weekend, throw a sandbag and a few kettlebells in a car. You can do bodybuilding, hypertrophy stuff. You can do Metcons, you can do all sorts of things with the kettlebell. So they're really good for travel training, I would say. Gun rack with a bunch of barbells. So these are guys and girls Olympic bars. And then just picked up these two cheapo bars. They're really nice if you're doing like supersets with like some barbell glute bridges or like front squats with an Olympic lift or something like that. I mean, these can hold weight. They're not, they're not going to spin well if you're doing Olympic lifts, but they're just perfectly fine for regular bodybuilding training. Curl bar that I picked up along the way for a few bucks, because why not? That gets used about twice a year, but that's fine. These are good because most detached garages have a little bit of a slope for the water to drip out. So to keep the bars from rolling, you don't really notice it when you're lifting, but when you drop a bar, if it's a nice Olympic bar and the bearings are nice and frictionless, it will roll. So we can set these up so the bars aren't rolling out of the gym. These are $198 at Amazon or Home Depot, so that's not bad. Just another whiteboard here. So like this is where we do Olympic lifts. The bar's 7 feet wide. This is 8 feet wide or 8.5 feet wide. So it's tight, but it's not really an issue. I've never hit the wall or the rig, so you get used to it. You get used to lifting in small spaces pretty fast if that's what you're forced into doing. Not really a problem. Box. I did make a box. It's up there right now because I don't need 2 boxes. I picked this one up along the way, but good to have a box. Grips, chalk bucket. Got a bunch of clips. These are probably the best clips. I think these are Osos, but these are on the road. These are like 20 bucks for a nice pair. These are some knockoff Chinese ones that are similar to the $70 Osos that I picked up, and they've worked perfectly well, just as good as 70-pounders. Some fat grips that rarely get used, but they're there. Furniture movers for like saws and stuff like that. Core work, a couple jump ropes. Always good to have a tape measure. So these are good actually, these straps. If you're ever trying to hang something from a bar, for example, these like knee to elbow or core straps. Believe it or not, these little pieces of fabric can hold like 500 pounds. So these are the best thing to connect metal to metal if you don't want to like chip your powder coat or something like that. And you can pick up these little straps online. For weight management, we just got this within the past year, and this is awesome. This is from Titan Fitness. It's just a wall-mounted plate rack. So we've got, what, 3 pairs of 45s, 2 pairs of 25s, 2 pairs of 10s, and we could fit another pair of 10s on if we wanted. This is great just to keep things super organized, not in your way. We used to just stack them on the ground. It was kind of, not unsightly, but things just get messy really quick. Got a couple more like some Monster Light small bands. These I'm pretty pumped about, and I'll take these down. I'll take one down just to show you guys. So I had some neighbors complaining about noise, so I built these pads. I built 2 pads. They're exactly the same. The bottom is a 2 by 3 foot piece of plywood. It's actually relatively nice plywood because I don't want it to chip over time. This is just bulk foam from Home Depot. They sell this in 6 foot by 2 foot lengths. So you can cut one in half and it perfectly fit on top of this 2 by 3 foot piece of ply. And these are 3 inches thick. So I stacked 3 of these, that's 9 inches, and then I just cut a piece of horse stall mat to put on top, cut long bolt holes through the 4 corners and threw that on, and then just threw a piece of paracord here on the bottom to hang it from. So now, if I'm like dropping a jerk or a snatch or a heavy clean from overhead, makes, you know, not a lot of noise, whereas not even gonna do it that high. It's a big difference. So just for like acoustic purposes, I'm pretty pumped on these. After I made them, I saw pound pads, and I saw that a pair of pound pads cost like $250 for this. And whereas these all together cost about, with the hardware and the materials, $25 with the used horse stall mat. So not bad. Pretty excited about those. If you have any questions, reach out and I can answer. But those are pretty easy to make. I started actually just with 1 pad and bulked it up to 3. Now there's like no noise whatsoever. Assault bike, they're just great to have. Certainly if you're competing in CrossFit, get the assault bike or the Rogue Echo bike. Otherwise, you can get by with a used Schwinn Airdyne from Craigslist for anywhere from like $150 to $250, maybe $3 if you want one of the nicer, good models, earlier model or more recent models of a Schwinn Airdyne. But if you're competing, just get an assault. A couple yoga mats in the back, speed ladder, that gets used sometimes. That's good for traveling and warm-ups. Get a big tree of plates if you can. If you keep an eye on Craigslist, they're not hard to find. That's good for like if one person's working out and doing Olympic lifts, or another person's trying to do deadlifts or squats or something like that. The person who's not dropping weights can just use the iron, so that's good. Yeah, and then like garage stuff. So I'm looking around, trying to think if we missed anything. A couple overall comments. The flooring is horse stall mats. You can get them the best place to get them is Tractor Supply. I got mine used from an old gym, so I got mine for even cheaper, which is why they look messier. But when we move to a new place, I'll probably get new then. For now, they work out fine. But they're 3/4 inch horse stall mats. They're kind of like the de facto for the gym. If you're not dropping heavy weights, you can get cheaper like 1/4 inch playground mats that come in like 2 foot by 2 foot squares. So they work okay. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Trying to think if we missed anything. Oh, if you're in a detached gym like this, it gets really cold in the winter. A couple tricks for like working out in the cold. Bring your barbell in at night, because you don't want to touch cold metal. You just won't be able to lift if you come out and it's 25 or 30 degrees. That means you're not doing Olympic lifts that day because you can't use bare hands on the bar. So bring it in at night. For kettlebells and the pull-ups, just use grips or gloves. That works out fine because obviously you can't bring them in at night, so they're going to be cold no matter what. The best heater is this Big Buddy. We just hung it up because it's finally gotten warm, but this is a propane heater. So you can attach a propane tank to this with like a hose, run the Big Buddy. Our gym's not insulated, so it doesn't hold a lot of heat, but it does take the bite off, which is nice. Other than that, just lots of layers, lots of thin layers. So as you start to heat up and sweat, take one layer off, take the next layer off. Hat or balaclava and gloves, and you can work out in like 20-degree weather. So it's no problem. This is the hottest we've seen at 70 degrees in probably about 6 months. So it's really nice today because 2 days ago it was 25 degrees when we got in here. Yeah, so that's DahlBox. Hope you guys liked it. Hope you maybe learned a little something if you're trying to put a garage gym together of your own. If you have questions, throw some comments in the video. I'll try to keep an eye on things and answer it, give any tips and tricks that I can. Like I said, I would say of everything in the gym, probably a third of it I bought new, like specifically the rig, the ergs, the bike. A third of it I got used from a friend, like the bench, the plates, and maybe a third of it I made, which is like, you know, the wall ball, I threw the rings up, I made some of the sandbags, and stuff like that. So you can get creative, you can figure it out, there's tons of to-dos online. Yeah, that's it guys, hope you enjoyed it.